Today, the Infiniti Flow S1 Plus. I've said many times, you guys know I have the Infiniti Flow S1. I've been extremely happy with it. So when they came out with a new one, I actually expected some progression from them in this model. What I did not expect was this degree of just going from a basic machine. I figured, they're going to progress. They'll add some features. They'll do something basic. They went way above what I expected. This now has an app and you can connect it and you can track your filament usage of this machine. It is wild. It's wild. And we're going to get into that software, but I really want to take a really close look at it. We're going to do the unboxing. We're going to do some observations for their part too, right? Because they're going to watch the video and I just want to give them some opinions of what I see on this progression. Now, the first thing I noticed when I got it, which this is obviously not the shipping label, I covered it up, but this is where the shipping label was. And this is super minor, so don't get too crazy, but you guys paid the extra money to have this cool graphic put on it, and then someone stuck a shipping label right over top of it. Maybe put this in a poly bag, put the sticker on the poly bag. That way it secures that experience. I get to see all of the graphic that's on there. Now, minor thing, obviously, but just observation. All right, let's cut this bad boy open. It's got some tape on it here. So we'll just cut that tape. I think this is all we need to do. Oh yeah. Our tape is cut. Let's open my top here and see what we've got going on. All right, so first observation, if you have the old S1 Plus, what you'll notice is the old S1, what you'll notice is that the S1 Plus comes fully assembled. The other one you had to put together. Now, it wasn't major. Don't think it was a huge deal to put it together. It really wasn't. It was only a few screws to like secure the rollers, but reality of it is this is a very nice touch to have the machine already fully assembled. There's my paperwork. So let's see, what do we got to do to get it out? We got one piece of foam here. We got a couple pieces of cut foam on each side to secure it. These are the cutters. And let's talk a little bit about the cutters. Are the cutters strictly necessary? And the answer to that question would be no. They are not strictly necessary. But I find them incredibly useful because what happens is, and I'm just kind of showing you these parts as I unpack it. If you're using a particular filament company, the filament will get caught on the inside of the spool. It'll either be bent and shoved into a notch or taped to the cardboard insert on that spool. If it does not release, then what happens is it could get jammed up. It may not necessarily release, and then that could cause you problems. Where here in the situation with the cutters, when it sees that tension, it says, okay, either the filament's jammed, it's tangled, or it just not releasing from the spool. And that can cause you a number of issues that you don't want. So the cutter is a super nice option to just add on. And that just ensures that when you get to the end of that spool, it's going to be trouble-free and going to release. And I think this is all we got left. I think we're just going to pick this up and then we'll set it down here. And in the box, we do have some PTFE tubing or Bowden tube, whichever you want to call it. Other people call it different stuff, whatever you want to call it. All right, so let's go ahead and remove the side foam here. Throw some of this stuff back in the box. It's clearly setting on something, so let's take a look underneath. Okay, so here's our power brick and our cord, and then we have some more foam. They've really done a really good job at packing the unit. That way it doesn't get damaged in shipping, and that's super important. Overall, look, wise, I love it. There is definitely some small changes. Um, these levers used to be black on the old model. They're blue on this model. That's kind of nice. The actual, I wonder if the spool rollers have definitely changed as far as the geometry back here goes. And everything's just a little more rounded, a little more finished. I think it looks very good. Looks very good. And again, these are blue now. They were black before. That's literally just a looks thing. But yeah. And then I think previously there was a Bowden tube connector here, and now there isn't one. Now the filament just feeds straight down into a hole, unless there's some in here. But this is basically where the cutter connects, and this is the next generation of the cutter. And I see some ball bearings here, so this is probably, yeah. Already I'm looking and I'm seeing this is already a nicer iteration of the cutter than the previous generation, which is what we expect from a company that is going to build us a quality product. They're going to iterate, and every time they create a new generation, they're going to make some substantial improvements. And obviously, this is definitely one of them. The light indicators on the top here are definitely more clear than they were before. They were actually, basically what was happening is I think they were just doing clear like PETG or something before. And I'm not sure. These look to be separate indicators. I don't know if they're LEDs specifically or another lens cover. But overall, yeah, I mean, the structure looks nice. It's well built. The rollers have changed a little bit. So on the outside here, they put a little bevel on the outside of the roller. That wasn't there before. So we can see we've really taken the time to make some meaningful changes. And I think they've done a really good job, just on the visual aspect of it so far. I am impressed. Everything looks really, really nice. All right, so I'm just finishing up the installation of the cutters. And this is quite a bit different. If you had an S1 before, this is a floating cutter. It doesn't actually like seat or mount to the unit itself, so a little bit different to try to set up. Now, me personally, I could not get these tips on to save my life. I ended up, just to facilitate that, just using a step bit, and just took a little bit of material out, and then I was able to slide them in. Everything is good and tight. So basically, give you the TLDR of how to install these things. See here, and then here is the connection. So what I did was I just clipped that on, went ahead and shoved this small section. I'm just flopping stuff all over the place. Shoved this small section of PTFE tube up literally as far as it would go. Okay. And then what I went ahead is triggered the cutter and brought the blue section all the way up, kind of put my finger right here to support it, and then just feed the tube down in there. I'm going to obsess a little bit. Okay. So then I want to release the cutter back down, and then I'll put it in place right here and go ahead and seat it, down in there. It doesn't specify how far to seat it, but I just went by the photos on their website, which kind of indicated that, they were kind of floating slightly above the surface and not setting completely down on. So there you go. You can see that. Okay, now we are successfully connected to the Cobra 3 Max. And as you can see, there's a giant 400 millimeter Frenchie being printed right now. This print, I think, has been like 3 days. It's been about 3 days. Let me see where I'm at. I got 9 hours and 43 minutes left. So you can see the S1 Plus is in action here. And I'm going to tell you what, I had mentioned those LEDs, and pretty obvious. Look how bright they are. They're so much brighter that even when I was watching this printer on my camera remotely, it was pretty easy to see what status each lane was in. You could see the green light glowing. So I imagine from across your shop, you're going to be able to tell pretty quickly what status your filament lanes are in, obviously. Now, it is important to notice here, or note here, is that this thing has not been connected to the app yet. I've literally just took it out of the box, put filament in it, and turned it on. All right, so this configuration, whatever it's running right now, is the default setup and clearly working very well. Clearly working very well. So if you don't want to mess with the app, if you don't want to get in there and mess with that app, you don't have to. But even on that basis, even if we exclude the app, this is far and away a better version of the S1. This S1 Plus has some, in my opinion, great improvements. The LED indicators, 100% better than they were. The cutters, I'm far happier with the cutter setup than I was with the old previous cutter setup. I think this one is much better. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get into the app. We're going to hook it up to our Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or whatever it is. I haven't even looked at the directions yet. And then we're going to see, for me, a small print farm, is the app a benefit? Or just using it out of the box default, is that a benefit? You know, what's the bigger benefit to me? But here, what we've proven is that we don't need to mess with the app if we don't need to. If we just want an excellent machine that just works out of the box, boom, you got it. So let's jump in the app and let's take a look and see what's going on. All right, so here we are in the dashboard and we've got everything set up. We've got everything running. So I'll just give you a quick breakdown. Now, right now, I only have one S1 Plus, so you're only going to see one device here. But if you can imagine, if I had 3 additional ones, like say I had one for each one of my FlashForge Adventurer 5Ms, then I would have a total of 4 here and be able to track the filament for each one of them. So here, right here in lane A, you can see it's at 0, and that's because lane A is empty. And lane B is 97%, and I have confirmed that it is actively tracking. So when I originally set that up, it was at 99%, and it has been reducing it over time. So that's perfect. It's actually working really well. And so let's take a look here at the next thing, and this is our devices, and we can see we have the device. Now, when I was in Safari, now I don't know if this is a bug or just what it is, but I didn't actually see them say anything specifically in any documentation about Safari not working. But when I was in Safari and I hit the plus and I hit search devices, this window did not pop up. So for some reason I couldn't add it in Safari. I'm in Chrome right now, but in Safari I could not add it. So be aware, if you're on a Mac and you're using Safari, you will have to initially set it up, at least at the moment, in Chrome, and then it will work in Safari afterwards. Even though these drop downs, like, they look good here, right? But they look a little weird in Safari, like they have a bubbly look to them. So I prefer how all this looks in Chrome anyway. So let's go to the next thing, and this is the filament inventory. Let's go to profiles first. So here's where you go in and you set up a profile, and you can see this is Hobby Lobby Silk Silver. I didn't put the SKU in because there's literally no SKU on the box, I don't think. PLA, Silver Silk. And then I set it at the length in meters at 330 meters. And I just did a quick search on Google and found that information, so I just plugged it in there. And then the roll size is 1 kilogram, so that gives me the, that particular profile setup. Now that the profile is set up, we can go in and set up inventory. So you can see here is my inventory, and we can see that it's 0.99 kilograms. So silver, this particular silver is actually assigned to a machine, and that's why its amount is reducing as we speak, which is amazing. So I'm assuming what happens is when this particular silver gets run all the way out, and I could be wrong here, but it kind of looks like when this silver gets run all the way out, that it will automatically delete itself from inventory. I'm not 100% on that. I need to play with this a little bit more, just getting started. But down here is where you add inventory. So you can see, here we go. And then I can put in any profile that I have, and then the quantity and then the price. Now be aware there's a 0 here. And if you type $17.99, it's going to, the 0 doesn't get deleted. It just stays there. But the good thing is when you add it, it doesn't matter. The 0 disappears. I left the 0 here on this one, and you can see it disappears. You can also do reductions here. So then you grab whatever filament, the price, and you can just delete a whole roll out of your inventory. Just let's say, for instance, I don't know, the roll got sprung or there was something wrong with it and you just couldn't use it, then obviously, you would take it out of inventory. But yeah, right now this one's set to 0.99 kilograms, so it is reducing. And if we go to metrics, we can actually see some metrics here. We're finally starting to see some metrics coming in. Filament use, 0.08 kilograms thus far. And then obviously, here we go with the filament expense, like how much I'm spending in filament. This is amazing, absolutely amazing. Like I said, this would make a lot more sense if there was like 4 of these or 5 of these. You know what I mean? It would make a lot more sense. But I just have 1 at the moment. So this is great for tracking inventory. Put your inventory in. As you load it up, you'll load up what profile you're loading. And this is probably a lot easier for people that maybe run matte PETG all the time, or just regular PETG all the time. Like maybe you have 1 or 2 colors that you run on a regular basis. This is probably be a lot easier to manage, but you could still easily do it. You could still easily do it and reduce your inventory automatically, and you won't have to worry about it. It'll just keep track of what you've used, and then you can run a report at the end of the month and know how much material you're using. So I think that's pretty awesome. And then here, if you want to set up notifications, you got your email notifications. So empty filament, low filament, and error state on the S1. I'm just going to check all of those because those all seem like worthy notifications to receive. And then it'll shoot me a notification anytime anything's going on. So if that filament starts to get low, it's going to shoot me an email and say, hey, your S1 Cobra 3 Max filament is low. And that'll give me the opportunity to run in there, and I don't have to babysit the farm the whole time. I can just run back in, throw another spool in, put it into slot A, and set it to 100% and walk away, and it'll do the rest. So I think that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I wish they would have sent me like 4 of these S1s now, so I could put one on all my machines, because this is really cool. This is really cool. Yeah, the only really complaint I see thus far, I know it's in beta, and they even have a place down here that you can just click on bug and report a bug. But in reality, I mean, the only thing I saw that looked a little odd to me was the fact that you just couldn't register a device in Safari. That was it. Like everything else seems to be running really smooth. And I look forward to using it. I'm actually going to use this. I'm going to put all my filament in there, and that way, it can track what I use through the Cobra 3 Max. The Cobra 3 Max is so big. It's 420 by 420 by 500. I'm pretty sure that's the specs. And so it just eats through a ton of filament. And it's super nice to be able to just track how much it's using, and that regardless of where I am, whether I'm home or, whether I'm away. I can jump on the camera and look at the machine. I can jump in the dashboard here and see how much is left in my filament feeders. I mean, this is amazing. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to thank Infiniti Flow for sending me over the S1 Plus to review. I've always been a big fan of the S1, and the S1 Plus is a huge jump forward. Way more than I expected for the second iteration of this product. It's got me pretty excited at what the third iteration might be. Like, what do they got up their sleeves? Because this thing just works, and I love having it. I'm going to have to pick up a few more of them, to be honest with you. It's gotten too good. It's gotten too good not to have a couple of them around. Now, obviously, there's a affiliate link down below, and if you choose to purchase one of the S1 Pluses, I'll make a little bit of money back, and obviously that's appreciated. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and tune in for my next video. All right, guys, later.